All right, welcome to another Comics That Influence episode. Number 43. I'm doing my beach haul. Jake, the last Comics That Influence, came back from, what do we have, Daytona?
And Orlando, yeah.
And Orlando. So you hit two comic book stores?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So you had a mad amount of comics. I was down in Bethany Beach in Delaware. It's like right on the Maryland border. And uh, God bless my wife. There was a comic book store right there on the main street, that drag, and I kept averting my eyes. And she said to me on one leisurely strolling up and down the streets, "Don't you want to go into that comic book store?" And I said, "Wendy, I just want you to know, once I walk into that store, it's going to change. I'm not going to want to leave. I'm going to end up in conversation with somebody. It could be over an hour." "No, we got time." And I said, "Well, you can go and meander into
Put your nails down.
other stores."
Yeah.
But she decided to come in. Total trooper. Went in to Comics and Games, owned by Thomas Chillemi, and had not met him yet. So total walking in cold. And I did my loop, and I have a really good scanner eye for the boxes that would have the black and white indies from the 80s, right? So I scan around, and I walk the store and everything, and I'm getting that kind of like, who's this guy? Old man, is he might be looking for something special, right? So I make that loop, and as I'm coming back, I look and I see there's long boxes on the floor. So now I'm like crouching and checking under his tables.
Here we go.
Crouching table, and then I come around to the way back corner and I see the box. So I pull the box out. I just do a couple blip, blip, blip. And sure enough, I see him. I stand up and I say, "Excuse me, my old knees are not going to help. I can't just sit down here." I said, "Is there any way you could bring a box up for me to flip through?" He's like, "Yeah, which one?" I said, "Oh, the black and white 80s. I said, "You got one box down here." He's like, "I got another one in the back." I said, "Well, okay." He makes very accommodating and cleared out a little space for me. And I started digging. So as I was getting through the second box, Tom did, come by and started asking, "Oh, what are you looking for?" And of course, I, started sharing about our comic, Crown the Barbarian, Turbo Pit Fighter, so on and so forth. So I'll save that towards the end. The books I got, I made out like a bandit, Jake. I got 18 books, but I ended up I could have gotten about 40. So I'm sure they're going to be there the next time I get down there. And he even said, "You're the first person since he had gotten these books that even went through or made anything." So it was pretty exciting. So I'm just going to go through real quick. I've got some really special books in the back that Tom gave me that I wanted to share. And, this will be my 2024 beach haul. So of course, two AC Comics. Now, you had this issue, which was the special Star Force 6, which is that John Byrne kind of ripoff. And man, this is freaking awesome. I started reading some of this. It was really good. But this is Priority White Heat. Now, I'm not going to get too much into it because I don't know if I can throw some promises out to try to get some individuals. Don Secrease is an artist for AC Comics back in the 80s. I ended up doing a collection of his Cult Weapon Mistress. Got permission from Bill Black. And then I got somebody else to do a cover, and I was in communique with Don Secrease. So I'm going to try to reconnect with him because this story is just, he did the Black Diamond. It's the espionage covert lady spy gals, and I love this kind of stuff. So who knows? I'm really going to try to make that reconnection with Don and bring him on, because I want to find out more about how that works. And we're also going to be working on making a connection with the crew over at AC Comics. Once we have the Turbo teaser printed, which we're getting there very closely, and we'll be able to get something out there. So we got right out of it. This I remember getting this comic, Legion X1, or I don't know if that's I, but it is one, because this is Silver Wolf. This was one of those comics I bought. Now, I opened to this, and all the way up to the right, it says Ninja, right? So I end up getting this comic just because it had a ninja in it. Now, the cool part about it was, and this was one of the first reason I was really into black and white comics was Ninja. But the other thing was I could copy these comics and feel proud. So if I made a drawing of a page or a character, especially the ninja, I could feel good about myself. If I redrew John Buscema or, it just wasn't going to be an empowering feeling. So I do remember having this comic book. You can also see an ad here for Grips. That was another one I would get. So Silver Wolf were some great comics. Let's see, Harrier Comics. This is Black Borges Warrior. Anything that's sword and sorcery or medieval in its look, black and white, I buy. So pretty interesting, but this is also an anthology, so it had like another kind of cool covert operation Guns Navarone.
Can you hear me okay?
Sci-fi. So really excellent book. These are all books that'll probably end up in the single times that Jake and I get together and do the side-by-sides in the comics that influence. So another great Thieves, Silver Wolf, #1. This was the thing about this box, these two boxes. Tom was telling me came from an individual that was, completely clueless about comics. Was going to give them to the kids in a rec room at a church to play with, but still wanted to see if there was any of value. There were some, and of course Tom took those, but the collection were all #1s, black and white. So another great Silver Wolf black and white comic. Renegade Press, Agent Unknown. Now here's another one. I love spy stuff. And this is penciled by Del Barras, Barras, one of those Filipino guys. You can chime in, by the way, Jake, if you'd like, if you can see. You don't have to stay. I know you're working on some Turbo pencil pages for issue 2. But this guy, oh man, he did some great stuff, and we're going to be showing off more and more of his work. Scatter #1, first, I believe. Jake, is this the first? Yeah, this is the first digital computer. It was done like on an iMac.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
And so, pretty cool. Adventure Comics, always a positive. Can't go wrong with this is great stuff. Now this is a art kit. What's going on? Oh, hold on. Right underneath. All right. So just give me a second here, and I'm going to re-engage.
Okay.
All right. So we had a little technical difficulties re-engaging with Jake. He's live on speakerphone, but he still has visual. So he wasn't ignoring me. But Jake, real quick, I'm going to show off what you're working on, just so as I'm working through and yammering off my little head, then at the end you can show off how far you advance. Which page are you working on, Turbo Pit Fighter, issue #2?
Yep, I'm on issue #2, page 19, up at the top of the page. I'm trying to get off this page so I can start this panel, so I can start the next panel. But some of these panels are kind of involved. Let's see if I can start doing some sketching, and I can always come back to this and finish all the final details. But I just want to show that these guys are, in front of this building and everything's on fire, and so that's where I'm at. I'm just going to be sketching while you're talking.
Right. No, that's fine.
And I do need you to flip back to the first page, because I lost power when I was just about to comment. So can we go can we go and rewind for a minute?
Yep.
Okay, so I just want to throw in my 2 cents for all right, Priority White Heat. That's an AC comic, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that looks like it looks like they're trying to rip off the Alpha Flight costume there. So this might be when everybody was in John Byrne mode, right?
Yeah, well, definitely, because they do release because this is 86, right, and then this is 84. So, and this is a complete.
I just picked that up myself. That exact piece myself.
Yeah. And when I saw it, I was like, "Ooh, I know." When he flipped through it, I really dug it, so I grabbed a copy for me.
Star Force 6. That one I can't even read. I can't even read that. What does it say? Lego X?
No, Legion X 1.
Oh, Legion X.
Yes, yeah.
But we've gone over some Silver Wolf before.
Yeah.
Right. That's
Can't
great
lose.
stuff.
Can't lose the Silver Wolf. I got a couple in there.
So you didn't get any bags and boards with these purchases, huh?
Nah, these are all
Right.
All
right. And what's that one called? Swift and Sure presents Black something?
Yeah, Black Burgess Warrior. Yeah, I mean, putting red and black in the, we always see these faux pas, but God bless them, they got it out. Don't know what a Burgess is. I'm assuming it's probably something middle age and Italian.
Yeah,
but it's an anthology. There's three little short stories that are not all sword and sorcery. Oh, here's a fourth one too.
Yeah.
2 1-pagers or thing. Yeah.
Oh, it's really
stuff.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting black and white stuff. Looks a lot like Paul Gulacy, stuff. Good stuff there. Interesting.
Another Silver Wolf.
Okay. This is Thieves now?
This is Thieves.
Right. Wow.
86.
And that's Dot Matrix liner notes.
Boom.
Right.
Look at
kind
that.
Of sparse. Yeah, kind of light. A lot on the white side, not too much black.
Yeah, no backgrounds really. I mean, other than walls.
Yeah.
So,
and is that like animals? Oh, the aliens? Okay.
It's got an alien, yeah.
Agent Unknown.
Yeah, I was saying, this is Del Barras.
Right,
which Philippine. Yeah, I mean, you just can't lose with this work. I mean, I wish these guys were still active. I don't know, maybe he is. We're going to hunt him down if he is.
They might
get some pages out of him.
Those guys could very easily have found work in other countries that we just never heard about.
That's true, too.
Yep. Looks a lot like Pablo Marcos to me.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good stuff right there.
Oh,
look at the action. Yeah.
Now, this is the first computerized comic, right? Shatter is?
Well, I don't know about the first, but he was definitely one of, and that's color. I think I have some Shatter in black and white.
Yeah, I was disappointed. Yeah, I was disappointed in the color, but
that looks like Princess Diana. Some of this stuff is photographed, but they're really trying to break the boundary into digital now.
It's great.
I wonder what the process was there.
1985.
Yeah, but what's going on? He's just like drawing with a
mouse. A mouse.
With a mouse.
It's all ones and zeros. It's empty box, black filled block, box. You know what I mean? Getting in there because this is not high res at all. Somebody on cartoonist
to the camera.
Cartoonist Kayfabe said they talked to him. I don't know if they did an interview, but the file for like it was like, I don't know, it was in like less than a meg. It was like 730 kilobytes was the entire comic book, as a series, because it was just these as the black and white. Coloring was added as a whole nother separate layer. But the black and white, plotting and page layout and rendering and stuff was
it's
just
low res. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is not.
This is like the Atari 2600
Yeah.
of comics.
Yeah.
Right.
Bit.
But he's got some interesting stuff. Imagine if the guy, great art here, looks like heavy metal art.
Yeah.
But he went in that direction of Shatter, so I wonder what the follow-up is. A lot of action there, too.
Yeah. So, gonna have to get more into that, find out. And then, of course, getting back to where we left off here, and was able to get you back on, was Netherworld, which is another adventure comic, and this is Gabriel Morissette. I have another one of his books. I'm going to track him down as well, because this stuff is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
I have that. Really good. Black, white, and gray. And a lot going on the page there. Not skimping.
Not at all.
Adventure comics, right?
Ooh, yes. You can never lose with an adventure comic. So, and we did a really great interview with Paul O'Connor, who wrote Bad Axe. So check that out as one of the videos in our playlist for this. Another AC comic, Femme Force Return from the Ashes.
That looks like later stuff. Is that already in
the 97? Yeah.
97, yeah.
So
getting up there. So you can see the look of things change, especially fonts and stuff.
That's
some
tight art.
Packed in pages.
Yeah.
Packed in pages.
Oh yeah. This will give you a run for your money, Jake.
I know. So I was just looking at some of my pages for issue 2. They're really packed in. That this was, I think, the trend when Neil Adams opened up Studio Continuity Comics, and he had this real flow to every page where it isn't just like a lot on the page and a lot of small detail, but the panels are overlapping and things run into each other, and just a lot there with visual density.
I'm becoming slowly reconnected, I should say, to Ben Dunn. I am going to put a link to Mr. Ben Dunn's YouTube channel. He has been spitting fire fulls of comic book knowledge. Once again, another individual I'm going to lean out to and send a teaser. See if we can get him to come and talk on our indie creator exchange. But Mr. Dunn has been making some just absolute, I think, very credible to date how to survive and navigate the comic book industry, the indie comic book industry. So I go, as I used to in the past, anything with Ninja, and I love the Amerimanga style, I think is what they kind of call it.
Yeah.
And he's tight, man. He, as a storyteller, you can't lose. He's a flavor, if you're not into manga or Amerimanga, but I just feel like you can never lose with Ninja.
It's a nice cover. So that's Bushido from Eternity Comics. Bushido. Yeah, before Eternity.
So I don't know, Theon. So the adventures
bring it up a little bit. Let's see that. That's interesting. No, let's see that character. So it's like a Barbie doll out in space.
Yeah.
I see the influence of Dave Stevens there.
Yeah, it's
I'm going to sit down and make a Dave Stevens comic.
Indiana, South Bend, Indiana, 1986. Copyright by Kevin D. Duncan. Story, and I don't know. This was one of the things I have not done any research on. I like this a lot. I this is reminiscent of like Barbarella a bit and some of the other femme fatale ish comics that were coming out where the woman was a little, lack of a description, kind of ditzy, but then through her adventures, she becomes more and more knowledgeable. And, so this is some pretty good stuff. I'm going to see if because it says a 3-issue limited series. I'm going to track down and see if I can get the other 3 issues. So now here's a comic. I have mycomicshop.com is one of the places other than eBay that I go to, to pick up books. Jim Ballet cover. I was going to get like the first 3 or 4 issues once and decided to not and get something else. Big mistake, because this is some fantastic stuff. Rob Davis is the penciler. R.A. Jones is the creator and writer. But this has got boobies in it. It reads like an 80s straight to VHS, B-movie type of exploitation thing. This is some good stuff, and want to track down. Whoa, centerfold too. Holy moly! This thing is so little hot, but never really found out anything about it. Never connected with the book. Am now very connected to the book, so I'll be tracking down more and more. Scimitar.
Scimitar, yeah. I have that one, and I have a couple more like it. I think they flirted with, like, we want to be an adult comic, and then we want to be an action comic, and we don't know what we want to do. So I think they kind of like straddled those lines, in the indie days when things were opening up a little bit. But yeah, maybe it's worth another look. Maybe I'll get out my old scimitars and see what's going on in there.
Right. Ninja, just straight up Eternity Comics Ninja. Really,
I got one of those. That's
really good. This is number 1, so really liking it. This is like your very trope, driven, raised by somebody. It's like Karate Kid with the female, but ninja and covert operations and the governments and so really well done. I read this one actually and liked it a lot, so I'll probably be looking into more about this. I think actually it's funny because I got this one and I was like, I think I already have a copy of this, but you can never, and this is where I
never have enough copies of it.
Well, no, you can, but this is a Pat Boyette, and Pat Boyette is in my top 10 favorite comic creators. And he is one of those comes through the 60s. He also wrote scripts for B movies, 3 of them to be specific, all really crappy, but in the most gratifying, great way. Girls from Thunder Mountain, I've watched, and I'm probably going to watch it again because it's so badly good. And then there's I can't remember what the other ones were. But he actually started out in the low budget, exploitation films, and then did comics and worked primarily with Charlton. But really, really love his clean style. He kind of, it would be like interesting. It would have been interesting to have him and Frank Thorne work on a book together, whether one penciled or ink or however you go. But I just kind of put those two side by side, but just a really
looks to me a little bit like kind of like a Walt Kelly style.
Yeah, just solid storytelling, comic book storytelling, very, very solid. So Pat Boyette, you can never go wrong on that. And so going from there, this is another one of those comics that I was always keeping in my save for later, and I found out that it's a part of. What was it? Albedo? Yeah, Albedo, which was
looks like ElfQuest a little.
Yes. It's actually put out by Thoughts and Images, but there's a talk to thinking about ElfQuest again for a moment. It was seeing Wendy Penny's art and Warp Graphics' independent efforts that were a major influence on my work. So this is a one-shot. And I had seen a little bit of like some, photographic captures of a page or two. Yeah. Sword and Sorcery, it's supposed to be kind of leaning into. I haven't read it yet, but I I dig it.
Wow.
I really do dig it. Once again, Amara manga slash Wendy Penny's ElfQuest. So
I have a complaint. I like the art. I like the style.
Yeah.
But why are so many of the panels just so sparse up at the top? Like it's like when
Clouds.
you take it's like nowadays when somebody takes a picture and like half of the top is just like ceiling.
Right.
Right. So I just wonder if that's on purpose because it's very airy, very open and airy,
but
like we're on some Great Plains or something.
Yeah. And like most of these hauls I get myself into, it's more investigation, see if these people are still out there, whether they're engageable, whether they'll come in and talk to us about their prior career, or whether they're actually engaging in coming in. Now, 2 comics I actually read this morning. This comic is amazing. I'm not actually going to show you anything of this because the next time we do side by side, this is at the top of my thing. Do you remember Black Moon? We did a review of Black Moon comics. This is like a continuation of it. So really super excited to talk about this. So I wanted to tease the hell out of everybody about it. This not as bad. A great Mark Beecham.
I just got that.
And once again, great 80s, straight to VHS, B-movie, ninja, just can't lose.
Well, you got to put them together. You're making me nuts. Why don't you take the other one and put them next to each other so you have the two?
Huh?
No, go back. You have ninja. You have another ninja.
Yeah. Where's this one here? Yep. Yeah. So this is Ninja number 1, and this is Ninja number 1, but this is Ninja number 1 special. So 40-page special. So yeah. Can't lose when it comes to Ninja.
Before it was a gimmick, huh?
Yeah. And if you have black and white Ninja comics that you're wanting to get rid of, please contact me and we'll work a deal out, and I will take those off your hands. But Gaijin, Ninja Outcast, Matrix graphic series. Let me see what year. Oh, this is a Gabriel Morissette, 1986, I think it is. It's 87.
Hey, you said you weren't going to open it.
No, I know. I just wanted to double check on that. So, I got this all backwards and everything. So, as I'm pulling through my comics, my beloved wife is standing by my side, and it's been about 45 minutes. And I've been talking to Tom, the owner of Comics and Games. He breaks the ice even further and says, I also been working in comics since I was 16 years old. So this is his very first comic Tom put together. He also has a publishing company called Azu Press. And, of course, produced this. This is not him writing. He has another individual writing. I'm going to completely misspeak on some of these elements because I don't have a very good memory when it comes to all the details. But he is so excited because when I told him about the Indie Comic Exchange and our teaser, and as soon as it was printed, I am sending him a copy, and he will come on to talk about his career in comics. There is a kind of like a southern group of comic collectors bound around, I guess, like Baltimore, Virginia, DC, and Maryland area. He's going to share more and more. Sal Buscema is actually down there in Virginia. He's worked with him. But there was a kind of a collective. I think there's a photograph in one of these books of him in this group. But we just had an amazing time talking. Oh, crud. Got this one. Here's a Ninja Bots. Yeah. This was another really cool comic I read this morning. So save that for later. But keeping on track. So, he's been doing Kickstarters. And it's just, at this point, I'm so happy my wife was with me because by the time we left, of course, I was monopolizing Tom's time immensely. So his wife had to come out of the back room and run the register. So, wives connected there. There was conversation and be had and just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people. It was very, very exciting to connect with him. I told him that we're primarily based on black and white 80s comics, but also bad movies. And so he wrote um, I looked up the trailer today on this. He wrote the comic book version. I think it actually had to do with also the kind of like premise to push it into a movie. So this is a movie you can rent for $1.99 on Amazon. I might pull the trigger because it looks oh so bad in the good way. So he's still connected. As a matter of fact, bless you. This is his most recent output, also Kickstarter funded. This is called Ranger. I have not gotten into this like in the way of reading or finding out more. This would most definitely be the centerpiece in talking with Tom when we sit down with our indie comic exchange. So I have to say, Tom did me a solid. I just most of the time don't have a good time going through a comic book store of lately. There seems to be a misconnection even when I'm not asking for a comic book store to go, oh, thank God, another guy making a comic book came into my comic book store, wants to sell comics through my comic books. You know what I mean? I'm not asking for that. But I am asking for, like, if there's a possibility of engaging this store. Now, my local comic book store has changed hands, and I have not gone down yet, and I will. But I would drive down and buy comics from Tom, and obviously exchange comics with Tom as time goes on and stuff. So, really super excited about continuing a conversation with him, obviously through the Turbo Pit Fighter YouTube channel and the like. But that is my Bethany Beach Comics and Games haul. Jake, how are you doing on your drawing? Let's finish up there.
Well, I haven't gotten too far. I'm just doing so. I'm looking at my sketch where I have this warrior nun here and some guys splayed around. I want to kind of reverse the angle where Turbo's going in, and we're going to see like the staircase here with all the dead bodies. But there is going to be a bunch of text here, and I think I'm going to be like changing this up where this is a lot more foreshortened. So I'm just kind of like visualizing this in my mind, but I was also stopping to look at all the eye candy that you're putting on the screen too. So I didn't get too much done over here. I'm doing my blue line pencil. I don't know if you can even see it. But that looks like a pretty decent haul.
Yeah, very exciting.
I still have to catch up. I have like multiple bags of haul that I haven't gone over yet. And, I'm telling you, when I went to Daytona and Orlando, there was multiple stores there. I only had time to go to 2, and I got like 30 and 40 comics from each for $1 each, and so I got some major haul to go over next chance. But I wanted to let you catch up first.
Cool.
So.
Thank you. Yeah, we're even now, and so the next time we do a comics that exchange, it'll be a 1-for-1. So you'll have a comic, I'll have a comic.
Right, and then there's no rush.
I know.
We can get back into haul, but every once in a while there's a piece in there where you want to say, all right, let's do a whole flip through.
Well, I'm about ready to make a statement I'll probably regret, but we are returning to a normal broadcasting situation because you've just completed a move. We've just completed Turbo Pit Fighter teaser number 2. I'm going to be getting this out to the printer. You're going to be printing your own copies. We're going to start engaging people. You can buy a copy, or if you are making a comic on your own, I'll send you a copy, or Jake will send you a copy. You send us copies, your comic books, and we'll get together and we'll talk about comic books. But, our usual Sundays is we take the first hour to make and work on Turbo Pit Fighter, as you've shown off the page. And then we usually try to do either a scheduled interview or just sharing the comic books that influence us, whether they're the same comics that you and I are familiar with, or you're sharing one and I'm sharing one that you're not familiar with and I'm not familiar with. So that is our Turbo Pit Fighter family, if you will, set of segments that you can get into by subscribing and being a part of our community, which, by the way, we have a very active community tab. Every day I post a polling question, and man, they're getting a little heated up there with opinions about how to make comics and how they're going in the right direction or the wrong direction. So,
well, okay.
But
I gotta pop back into that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Partake. I love a good debate.
So with that being said, we're gonna let these people get back to reading comics, making them if they choose. Jake, you got anything left on the out?
No, folks, see you next Sunday. And if you're looking at this in the future, check out Turbo Pit Fighter #1, the great comic book that we've been struggling and painting and slaving away on for your enjoyment pleasure. So take care, everybody.
All right, we'll see you next Sunday, Jake.
All right.